Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Jose Trujillo. Once again, I'm the world's greatest living artist, and I'm going to paint something awesome today. I was gonna get started with just paint because this was gonna be just for me, but I'm gonna map it out since I did the video. So here we go. I'm gonna make some sailboats here. Okay, kind of like by the shore. Who knows? That kind of dealio. And again, it's really whatever you feel comfortable when you create art. When you create artwork, it really comes down to your comfort levels. Uh, Many of us try to make it something it's not, and I really believe that it just has to do. Just about everything has to do with your comfort level, how you feel about it. You know. I kind of feel it. It's almost. I used to be a musician, and I say I used to because I don't practice anymore. So I'm not a practicing musician. uh, it's almost as if you're improvising. I remember some of my favorite uh, musicians to watch were jazz musicians, and I say watch, not necessarily just hear, because I love different types of music. But I like watching jazz musicians because it seemed like they had something down that the rest of us, at least in the people I knew, didn't understand quite yet. And the more experienced, of course, the jazz musician, the more you could feel that. It's a type of improvisation, improv. Every time they it almost sounded to the untrained ear, it sounded like they were just playing around. But I used to be very much into music during that time, and I could see that, no way. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they were good at it. They were great at it, actually. So, with that being said, I feel like that artwork seems to be that way. Things seem like uh, it may appear, when you're creating artwork, that you are kind of winging it. But if you are persistent, if you're consistent, if you keep practicing your craft, you realize that something else comes through. Something else comes through, and it sort of reminds me of jazz. Maybe that's why I like a lot of the modern painters from the what would it be, like the 40s, 60s, I don't know, somewhere around there. Um, they did a lot of that, I think. They did a lot of just fun stuff, right? They used their skill to stretch themselves and not just be. They use everything. It's very. One of my favorite books is the Tao Te Ching, and it talks about how, for those of you who don't know it, a certain flow, certain flow is used. I think jazz musicians really express it very nice. Artists express it very nice, especially working artists, just like working musicians, people that do it all the time. Then you're not painting anymore. Even if it looks like you're sort of doodling, you're not really painting anymore. Something else is doing the job. And please, guys, I don't mean this in a spooky way, because I know we all have different paths, different faiths, religions, and whatnot. Some of us don't have that, don't have religions, don't have that. That's totally cool. I'm all for the free soul. But what I'm saying is that something else comes into play. You know, something that it's not. I heard one of one of my favorite authors call it the unconditioned. And I like to refer to it that way too. It's like something that is not conditioned, something that, you know, it's there yet it's not. And if you step back and you start looking at it, you will miss it. And that's how I approach artwork. For me, creating artwork, if that's why I don't believe in selling out or that kind of stuff. I don't believe in none of that, because if you create artwork, if you do anything with quality, it does not matter what it is. It does not matter unless you are completely, you know, against whatever you're doing. You know, you don't believe in the mission or whatever. That's different. But if you are creating artwork, even if you're doing it for, I don't know, a company or, you know, like a designer or whatever, if you're fully in, you're in for a treat. I believe, anyways. So in this painting, I switched over from phthalo, because you guys see me use phthalo a lot, to cobalt blue. I told you guys that's why not to stay stuck on a palette, because, or on my palette, because I don't really. I used to believe in a singular palette or whatever, however you want to call it. I don't anymore. So I don't stay with the same colors for that long. I like I said it before, I'll say it again. I like the Picasso approach. I like to, not just in painting, and I'm not talking about the style. I like how he dealt with artwork. It was very much something that you're always molding, changing. It's moving. It's alive. You're stretching. You know. It's a very zen. I think that painting, well, in this case painting, right? Anything done with attention. It's a very zen practice, very much a zen practice. It's those of you who have different religions or have religions or spiritual paths or whatever. It's prayer, you know, however you see it. To you, it might not be that. It might be a form of prayer. It's all the same, in my opinion. That which brings peace, doesn't matter what you do, you've nailed it. It doesn't matter what you call it. Whatever brings you peace, you nailed it. Not happiness, guys, not happiness. Happiness comes and goes. The thing that brings peace is we've nailed it. We've nailed it. Whatever brings us peace. I walk next to the ocean, going into a church, going into a place of worship, going into your garden. You know, I'm more than likely. I'm pretty sure that Monet. That's why Monet made his garden. Is to bring some sanity to his, whatever was going on in his life. Bring a place of sanity. I think. I don't know. One can only assume. My mother was very, very. She was very religious when she was younger, when she was in her youth, and then she became very spiritual, and she was no longer just religious. She was still she still belonged to her religion, but I saw something different at the later years and end of her life. I saw a spiritual awakening happening. It was very interesting, very, very beautiful to see. All of a sudden she started practicing transcendental meditation, things like that. In the same religion. She was born and raised Catholic. But aside from that, she told me before she passed away, she told me since I was a little kid, nothing is more precious than peace. Nothing in this world. And I thought to myself, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was like, oh man, here comes my mom telling me that kind of stuff, But as I'm older, I began to understand those words, Nothing is more important than peace. Everything else comes and goes. Doesn't matter what agnostic, whatever. We all understand peace. That's the one thing that we all understand. The rest of the stuff we all have disagreements. Everybody does. I don't know. It's just the way it is. But on that, I think it's unmistakably peace is unmistakably holy. I think. No matter religion, no religion, spiritual practice, no spiritual practice, whatever it is, it's unmistakably holy. I find it when I paint. I tend to call it the zone. Some people do it when they're creating, when they're working. Maybe you do woodwork or some sort of manual labor. I think that's why Renoir referred to manual labor, working with your hands as something very noble. I do agree with him. Anything that gets you out of your head, I think that's where the nobility is. It's very noble. I think that's one of the reasons why Einstein used to take breaks, go for long walks. And from what I understand, he did a lot of thinking. His work involved a lot of thinking, right? Right? But it's interesting to me that he would take a lot of positive moments. I think it says a lot about the man. I think anything we do, if we, doesn't matter our job or work, whatever, if we take moments, that's one of the reasons I believe I don't know the history behind it, but just by observation, why when something is very important, we want to honor something, we want to give it honor, a burial, someone died, someone is, we want to consider something very sacred. What do? Let's take a moment of silence. Because in silence there's no judgment. In silence there is no I. mean, there can be, but if you're truly silent, I think there's no I. That's why I think that people, when they create artwork, that's why I keep moving. That's one of the reasons I keep moving. Not to do it fast. That fast is just part of my thing. Even if I were not to do it fast, but if I would just keep moving one after the other, even if it's slow, but not stop. The problem is that many of us, when we paint, this used to be me. And I discovered that was no way to paint. I used to do this. And then I would think about, and think about, and think about it. And then I would go, and think about it, step back, look at it, look at my paint, trying to find something out. It's as if you're trying to look, every time we do this, every time we paint, we put a brush stroke or whatever, and we try to think about what we're doing. Guys, the other day someone told me not to be telling artists what to do or how to think. I don't think I'm doing that. I think I'm just sharing my experience. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. But I discovered that when I paint, if I sit there and ponder, if I do this, then I do this. That's why you see realist painters, very good realist painters that are famous, that are creating a lot of work or that have exhibits. Or Hendy Wiley is one of them. I think they're always on the go. I don't think that they pause. I don't know the guy, but I assume because of looking at the work, that, it's hard work, one after another. But because they need to come down from the mind. You can't just do this. I used to do this. I used to do stuff like this. Even if you do it fast, you do it like that, and you're like, oh. You start thinking about it. You start looking at the color of the paint and the did I get the tone right? Should I use a different brush? Oh man, this brush is. It's overthinking it, overkilling it, right? And I realized that wasn't the way to do it. It took me years to understand. I didn't figure this out overnight. It took me, even if you do it slow, I tell you guys, even if you do it slow, but if you don't stop, you will start creating artwork. And I mean artwork, not just illustrating, not just laying paint, but you're actually going to start creating artwork. Thing that comes from you. Even if you are trying to recreate something like this, but it still will come out of you. It will come from you. It's very unique. It's very different. So it took me a while to understand it. It took me some time to figure that out. It was painful. The kicking and screaming is how I got there. No one taught me that. It was kicking and screaming. And I realized that every time that I created artwork like that, I wasn't really creating artwork. I was trying to please my brain. And of course, we all have certain things we need to do, but I'm talking about pleasing the brain is very different. Of course, you want the image to look a certain way. Of course, you're looking for that. There's a difference between that and trying to please the brain. It's a very different thing happening. It molds, turns into something else many times. Don't know why, it does that. And I allow it to. If I fight it, I get into trouble with my brain. It doesn't mean I'm giving up. It means I'm surrendering to it. It's very different. To give up and to surrender are two different things. I'm not giving up. I continue to paint. But I surrender to the expectation of it. That's where the key is. That's where the honey is. I don't stop painting. But I surrender to the expectation. That there's only one way of doing it. You get stuck in the minutia. And then you cannot move forward. The devil is always in the detail. Guys, the name is Jose Trujillo. I hope I didn't bore you to death today. I felt inspired to talk about certain things. There's my palette. Those of you who love to see the palette. You believe this? Under 20 minutes? Guys, I believe it. Take care, and I will be talking to you guys soon again with another awesome video. All right? Bye.